It can be pretty hard to recognize when a serve is coming with topspin and when it's coming with underspin, especially when the opponent has a deceptive racket angle. But the easiest way, if you can't tell from watching the paddle, the easiest way to tell is from the bounce. An underspin ball has a very obvious bounce to it. So bear with me as I explain this. An underspin ball, if someone pushes to you, it bounces and it kind of sticks to the table and it rises up a little bit and it's very floaty as you're coming across the ball or as the ball's coming across the table. Now, a topspin ball looks normal. Like to our eyes, it looks normal. And so because of that, it can be very hard to tell when a ball does or doesn't have topspin on it, if it does indeed have topspin. And so, as counterintuitive as it sounds, if you can't tell what spin is on the ball, that in of itself is your sign that it's topspin. If the ball looks normal, it's not doing anything that would tip off whether it's underspin or topspin, and it's just really, really hard to tell because it looks so normal, that is your sign that it's topspin. Because an underspin ball will do something. It will stick to the table. It will float up a little bit. So it's much easier to assume and guess topspin and react to underspin than it is to assume underspin and react to topspin, because you'll almost always immediately pick up once a ball has underspin on it, whereas topspin is a lot more difficult. So again, if it's difficult to read and you can't tell, you not being able to tell should be your sign that it's topspin. So this serve right here, you can probably just drive straight through the ball. Another way to kind of guess on the serve return. It's super, it doesn't sound smart at all, but it's actually really, really good way to pick up on opponent serves. You popped his serve up because it was topspin, and he gave you the exact same motion. Now, is there a very small chance that his serves are so deceptive that he can change the spin with a very similar motion and catch you by surprise? Of course there is, absolutely. But the odds of that being the case are very low. So if you pop the first serve up, and after the fact we're like, crap, that was topspin, I should have hit it, and he gives you the exact same motion, and the ball looks exactly the same, without reading it at all, without reading the bounce, without reading the racket angle, without doing anything else, you should just guess that it's topspin. If he happened to have a really good motion and it was deceptive and now it's suddenly backspin and you miss in the net, clap your hands and say, good job, that's a really good serve. But I guarantee most of the time that's not going to be the case. And you can just basically, from pattern recognition, assume that it's going to be topspin again until he proves that he does have the underspin variation. So again, he gives you the same serve, it's the same action, it's the same bounce. Even if you can't read it and you're not sure, just guess that it's topspin based on the fact that the last one was topspin and he hasn't proved to you that he can do something different. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Louie here and welcome to another VOD review. Today we're going to be looking at a match from Fian Falua. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Foles99 on Discord. Uses Rosena, 2.1 millimeters, both sides. So, and a balsa, carbo, blade. So actually a pretty good beginner setup, a little bit slower than kind of your standard setup, but not bad at all when you're just learning how to play. USATT rating is 637 and club rating is 1123. So maybe like an intermediate level player that just hasn't played too many tournaments yet. Goal is to be around 15 to 1600 USATT by next year. I noticed my serve returns generally weren't very solid and that put me at a disadvantage from the start of rallies. I have a strong forehand loop, so I want to play to that more while also having the option to flick and loop with the backhand. In terms of practice frequency, we play 1 to 2 times a week at the University Club for 2 hours, 1 time a week playing in the South Bend League, which looks great actually. 4 to 6 best of 5 matches, that's really, really good. And then 1 time a week practicing at the South Bend Club, playing multi-ball, forehand, backhand loop, underspin loop, pushes, and matches. So overall, this is a very, very good level of practice, very solid. You'll definitely be able to improve steadily with this rate as long as you are practicing the right things. Generally, I play close to the table from the center with more offense on the forehand and more defense on the backhand. My rallies usually rely on solid defense, winning with either a quick block to counter the loop or a powerful smash or spinny loop. The match in the video was one of my under 1100 matches. I ended up losing 2-3 after being up 2-1. I probably made some bad decisions in the last games. I also played the under 1400 and under 1800 events. I had one good match in the under 1400, lost 2-3, almost won the 5th game, lost most of the under 1800s, but have one close game. One of the under 1800, I lost 1-3 with the last game going to 16-18. I decided to go with this one because it shows my approximate skill level and wasn't that different from the 1400. It was a game I think I should have won. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and take a look. I am going into this blind, so I'll probably go ahead and just watch the first couple points on my own again, just to kind of get a feel for the match, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so I got the match pulled up now. Our protagonist is the player on the far side of the table. I am going into this one completely blind. I figured I'd watch the first couple points. I literally watched the first point, and that's it. So I am basically just going to go into this one blind, and I'll try to point out things as I pick them up. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, it's not bad. Ooh, okay, so this is really, 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 I cannot emphasize enough how important this is. So look at your finger on the back end. Your index finger is kind of level with the rubber. Like it's basically crossing over where it probably like butterfly Rosena. Your finger's in the correct spot here. The shot is nice and stable. Alright, that's fine. Now fast forward a little bit. If we go frame by frame to the forehand. But look where your finger is once you finish. It's right across the rubber. And this is a really, 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 really bad habit that we have to break immediately. Your finger has to stay right here, going across the rubber. It cannot come up the paddle like this. It is so bad. It'll cause you, basically it causes you to lose flexibility in the shot. It causes you to add unnecessary side spin. It causes you to lose power. It causes you to lose consistency. It's really, really, really non-optimal to have your finger here on the paddle. So we definitely need to break that habit sooner rather than later. But anyway, let's go ahead and keep watching. Yeah, even on the serve return. Okay, so it's probably subconscious because like right as you got to the serve return, you're getting ready, the finger kind of slips back to the right position. It's not perfect, but it's better. Also, make sure your middle finger is actually around the handle fully. Make sure your middle finger is not sticking out away from the handle. Make sure it's wrapped completely around the handle. That's fine. That's actually not bad at all. Now, I will say, it doesn't look like you're serving with much purpose. Now, one, I think that you need to work on the serves a lot more. The serves seem very, very basic right now. Like, you're standing in the middle of the table, and you're kind of just hitting it over the net with a little bit of spin. Which, again, I know you're learning, so it's fine. But you should probably spend a little bit more time practicing your serves. By a little, I mean a lot. So take literally 30 minutes out of your practice sessions, every single practice session. If you have to cut time out of the actual matches or practice just to work on the serves, do that until your serves are literally unreturnable to anyone under 1500, because 80% of table tennis is the serve and the serve return. But other than the serve itself not being the best, it also looks like you're not 100% ready after the serve. And what I mean by that is you serve kind of to the middle here, and I don't know if you're really expecting a specific return off of it. Like, if you look at where you're standing, you're not really in your ready position. You're watching and you're getting ready to just react, which tells me There's no pattern that you're trying to play off of this serve. So even if the serves aren't the greatest, you should still be trying to set something up off of them. Just to give you a couple of ideas, very, very simple stuff that would be very effective, especially as a left-handed player. Do the serve fast into this corner, and 90% of the time, your opponent will play to your forehand, and you'll get a pretty predictable shot. Play the serve fast to this corner, you'll probably get a chance to backhand loop. Play the serve short right here, you'll also normally get a chance to backhand loop. Playing to the middle right here is kind of no man's land because you give your opponent an opportunity to play both extremities and you give your opponent the opportunity to play to the middle, and it's very difficult to predict where they're going to go. So make sure when you're serving, there's a purpose behind it. And then when it comes to the ready position, make sure, and I'll put a clip up on the screen of a professional player, and as silly as it sounds, you can literally copy them when it comes to the ready position because they do it perfect. All right, guys, it's me cutting in again. So T-Mobile, very strong left-handed player, of course, just doing his typical pendulum serve, and watch the ready position after he does the serve. I'll go frame by frame. Serves, and as the serve is going over the net, he's moving, grip fixes, and ready position. Look where he's standing. Ready for either shot. Recognizes that it's coming to the forehand. And he's able to move very quickly to get to that ball. And play, of course, a very strong spinny shot. Just wanted to put it out there as an example. And anyway, now back to the video. You serve. Immediately, paddle should be over the table. Left arm and right arm should be about the same height. And that way you don't have to lift the paddle up when you're getting ready to hit. Because right now, let's say he returns it with topspin to your forehand. To get to your forehand, not only do you have to move your paddle this way, you also need to move it up right now. Whereas if your paddle was already up here, then you could just move it to the side and it'd be a pretty quick reaction. So just a couple things that I'm noticing early on. And I think that's why you're late on the shot and not really sure what's happening. Nice serve. Yeah, not bad at all. The spin itself is good. Just need like a little bit more deception practice. Try to get it a little bit sharper. That's fine. That's actually very good. Yeah, your idea is right. That serve should be hit because it's got a lot of topspin on it. And it can be pretty hard to recognize when a serve is coming with topspin and when it's coming with underspin, especially when the opponent has a deceptive racket angle. But the easiest way, if you can't tell from watching the paddle, the easiest way to tell is from the bounce. An underspin ball has a very obvious bounce to it. So bear with me as I explain this. An underspin ball, if someone pushes to you, it bounces and it kind of sticks to the table and it rises up a little bit and it's very floaty as you're coming across the ball, or as the ball's coming across the table. Now, a topspin ball looks normal. Like, to our eyes, it looks normal. And so because of that, it can be very hard to tell when a ball does or doesn't have topspin on it, if it does indeed have topspin. And so, as counterintuitive as it sounds, if you can't tell what spin is on the ball, that in of itself is your sign that it's topspin. If the ball looks normal, it's not doing anything that would tip off whether it's underspin or topspin, and it's just really, really hard to tell because it looks so normal, that is your sign that it's topspin. Because an underspin ball will do something. It will stick to the table. It will float up a little bit. So it's much easier to assume and guess topspin and react to underspin than it is to assume underspin and react to topspin, because you'll almost always immediately pick up once a ball has underspin on it, whereas topspin is a lot more difficult. So again, if it's difficult to read and you can't tell, you not being able to tell should be your sign that it's topspin. So this serve right here, you can probably just drive straight through the ball. Yeah, so there it's anticipation. Again, it's a matter of serving with purpose. You served very quick, pretty deep into the corner here. Anytime you're playing an opponent with the same handedness as you, so it's nice that this is lefty versus lefty. It's a 90% rule. I like to call it a 90% rule. It's probably not exactly 90%, but it's pretty close. If you catch your opponent by surprise into a deep corner, 90% of time, their reaction will be to play it cross court. So your first idea after you do the serve should be anticipating the next ball coming wide to your forehand. If he happens to play it down the line to your backhand, you can just clap your hands and say great shot, and then mentally just be aware that he has that shot in his arsenal. But don't expect this until he proves he can do it, because most people will just play this shot cross court and give you a very predictable ball. So again, it goes back to just serving with purpose. You were thinking about changing up your serve, changing the spin, changing the placement, but you weren't thinking about how he's going to respond to that serve. So you have to just be ready for that ball. Not bad. Not bad at all. And the serves need a little bit of work just in terms of the spin, but the idea there is correct. Yeah, same. When in doubt, assume topspin until they prove they can do heavy underspin. So like right there, that one's pretty obviously got a little bit less topspin on it, and the push is fine. It's much easier to see underspin than it is to see topspin. Nice, not bad at all. The strategy and the anticipation was perfect. The shot missed because of technique, and my channel is really focused on strategy and tactics, so I know there's a lot of technique videos on YouTube already, and some viewers at home might get bored when I talk about technique. But this is literally technique and nothing else. Like the serve is fine, but your ready position is really late. Like it takes you a long time to get the paddle up, and then again the finger is way across the rubber as you're playing this ball. So the racket motion itself is not bad. You're coming across your body a little bit, but look at where your finger is on the rubber. This is really, really bad on the forehand. It has to be right here, coming across your rubber, basically covering the letters on the bottom of your rubber. It can't be going off the paddle like this. And then in terms of kind of a guide point, the racket should stop by your right eyebrow. As a left-handed player, once you've finished your technique, your racket should freeze right here. If it comes any further, like if it finishes here, or it finishes down here, or way to the side across your body here, then you've come across the ball and you've overswung a little bit. Right here is the point where your paddle should freeze, stop. You should be looking up, getting back into ready position, and getting ready to play more. Let's go, keep going. Yeah, misreading. And the other thing, another way to kind of guess on the serve return. It's super. It doesn't sound smart at all, but it's actually really, really good way to pick up on opponent serves. You popped his serve up because it was topspin, and he gave you the exact same motion. Now, is there a very small chance that his serves are so deceptive that he can change the spin with a very similar motion and catch you by surprise? Of course there is, absolutely. But the odds of that being the case are very low. So if you pop the first serve up, and after the fact we're like, crap, that was topspin, I should have hit it, and he gives you the exact same motion, and the ball looks exactly the same, without reading it at all, without reading the bounce, without reading the racket angle, without doing anything else, you should just guess that it's topspin. If he happened to have a really good motion and it was deceptive and now it's suddenly backspin and you miss in the net, clap your hands and say, good job, that's a really good serve. But I guarantee most of the time that's not going to be the case. And you can just basically, from pattern recognition, assume that it's going to be topspin again until he proves that he does have the underspin variation. So again, he gives you the same serve, it's the same action, it's the same bounce. Even if you can't read it and you're not sure, just guess that it's topspin based on the fact that the last one was topspin and he hasn't proved to you that he can do something different. That's fine. He played a very good shot there. And yeah, that's serves right there. So this is why you need to practice your serves. You've been serving kind of the same or a similar action most of the time, and most of your serves have come long. So he's seen it enough times to just immediately be ready to hit. And even with the best blocks in the world, that's going to be a tough shot to deal with. It's going to be much more difficult than dealing with a more standard return. Yeah, same. When in doubt, just assume topspin. So a lot of the mistakes are coming off of just mistreating the serve. And even if you can't read the serve, again, it doesn't matter if you can't read it, you have to just take a guess and not be scared to miss. Not be scared to miss in the net. Yeah, coming across your body on the forehand again, it's just technique and your finger. Yeah, a lot of it is just serve return right now. Like, the reason he's able to attack and you're even in that defensive position to begin with is just because you popped the serve. That ball there ideally needs to be hit just because it's something that you'll gain with more practice and more pattern recognition, but it has to eventually be automatic where you serve, whatever serve you do, he returns it high and long to the forehand. That should automatically be a full power loop. No second thought. If you miss, but you have to go for that. But I don't think I need to watch much more because I think it's going to be kind of... I'm sure that when you get into the rallies, like the times that you return a serve well, yeah, like when you're in the rallies, you tend to hold your own and you seem pretty comfortable. Yes, there's some issues with technique, but it's not bad. But everything for the most part right now is coming down to serve and serve return. And actually on the backhand, you have a similar issue with the technique now that I'm looking. So let me see if I can catch it. So look at your thumb as you're playing the shot. You're putting a lot of pressure on the paddle with your thumb. And again, this is really bad for the same reasons it's bad on the forehand. The grip should be with your hand, and the index finger and the thumb are basically there for support. But it should be where all the power comes from. The thumb, again, should be a little bit lower. It can be resting on the rubber, that's fine, but it can't be so far up where you end up basically locking your paddle into one place and you lose flexibility in terms of the range of motion you have. So that's definitely something that we're going to have to fix. Let's see. Yeah, the rallies themselves, you're fine. They'll get better over time as well. But yeah, it's the same. I'm curious, I'm going to skip to the last couple games just to see if you're still making similar mistakes. Yeah, so it's even here. You're so nervous to miss the serve that you're forcing yourself to rely on an extremely difficult block. And there again, look at your thumb. Way up the paddle. So I'm going to go ahead and type out my notes, and then I will be right back. Alrighty, so I've got my notes, and these are pretty difficult notes in terms of it's going to take a lot of practice, but we've got to nail down some of these fundamentals before we can start working on more advanced things. So the first thing we need to do is practice the serves a lot. Now, you said that you generally practice quite a lot, at least 2 hours at the university club. So what I'd say is when you're doing your 2-hour practice session, at a minimum, like bare minimum, 30 minutes of that 2 hours needs to 100% be focused on serving and getting into a proper ready position. So I'd say whoever your idol is, like whoever you watch and whoever your favorite player is on YouTube, like whether it's Timo Boll or Ling Gaoyuan or whoever it is, you can copy what they do for ready position. So basically, you don't have to copy the serves, but once they serve, watch how quickly they get into ready position and what that ready position looks like and where they're positioned on the cable, and just try to copy it and make sure that yours looks exactly like theirs. So the next time I see your match, I want you to try and trick me into thinking that you are that player. Like trick me into thinking that Timo Boll learned from you or something. It needs to look similar. It needs to be quick. It needs to be neutral. You should be ready for either shot. And then in terms of the serves themselves, like I said, you don't have to copy a specific person, but with a single motion, so whether it's a pendulum motion, a reverse pendulum motion, a backhand serve, whatever you're most comfortable with, but one single motion that you can vary to generate topspin, side spin, and underspin, as well as variations of that. So top side, side under, etc. The underspin and side spin variations should have the capability to make the ball bounce at least twice on your opponent's side, and the underspin variations should occasionally come back toward the net. So basically, they shouldn't even go out at all. They should just continue bouncing and come all the way back to the net. Now, to go along with the serves, you need to be serving with purpose. This applies to when you're in the matches. So why are you serving where you're serving? What are you trying to set up for the next shot? Are you trying to loop? Do you want to push? Are you trying to bait out a loop to block? Do you want to play your forehand? Do you want to play your backhand? What are you trying to do? And it doesn't have to be correct. It doesn't have to. You could get it completely wrong. You could guess completely wrong. That's fine. Everyone makes mistakes, but you have to at least try to serve with purpose. Try to set up some combinations. Try to get predictable returns. Next note is about your finger. No more finger going off the paddle. So this is your index finger on the forehand and your thumb on the backhand. Each time the next VOD that I see your finger go up, that's a strike. And if you're familiar, 3 strikes means I close the VOD and tell you to make another submission once the issue is fixed. Finally, trust your intuition more when you're returning serves. So for example, like I was explaining earlier in the video, go back and rewatch that if you need to. You pop out a serve because it's topspin. If he does the exact same serve, assume that it is topspin again until he proves otherwise. So that's going to do it for this match review. Best of luck with your improvement. You have a lot of talent. Like, you're very comfortable in the rallies. So I think once we nail down some of these fundamentals and you can get yourself into more favorable rallies, you're going to improve very quickly. So I definitely would love to see another match from you in the future. Again, best of luck. To everyone watching at home, I hope this was helpful. If it was, then please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm, and it would absolutely mean the world to me. But anyway, thank you all again for watching, and until next time.